Welcome to episode 35 of Squib Kick Radio. I am your host, as always, Elias Powell, and I am joined here exclusively with Riley Pollock. Harry Burton is in Langham, Saskatchewan right now, so he is unable to attend today's podcast because he is working, but I've got my good buddy, Riley. Riley, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, Eli. It's been a slow recovery from the 10 days of Stampede that I just endured, but we survived out here, and I'm ready to just take like a 2-week hibernation break from any partying or giving her whatsoever. So I was glad to sit down and talk some football tonight.
And talk some football we will. Lots of news around the CFL. We've got a notable suspension, a big general manager firing. We've got what I would consider an upset win. And, Riley, believe it or not, we have some real NFL news to talk about. And for those listening, we have a little surprise for you at the end of today's episode. So stay till the end because you will not want to miss this. But, Riley, with that being said, let's just jump right into the CFL. Lots of stuff going on. Unfortunately, our Riders didn't play, but that did not stop the CFL from ticking on. So why don't you start us out with Edmonton versus BC?
Well, the last time these two teams played, Edmonton crushed Mike Riley. I think they had like 7 sacks in the second quarter against him or something. And that continued this past week as the Esks crushed them again, this time 33-6. Just absolute domination by the Edmonton Eskimos. They now have 15 total sacks against the Lions in 2 games and 4 more that got called back. So it's been an absolute beatdown. And this Eskimos team, especially on offense and their D-line, looks real good so far this season. So they've moved to 3-1. BC falls to 1-4. They're in last in the West. I feel so bad for Mike Riley. It's not his fault that he got paid so much money, but they can't put an O-line together to protect him because he got all the money that the team had.
Yeah, so what's going on there in BC, Riley? Is this just their O-line is just absolute garbage? Are they missing guys? What is going on with this O-line?
They're not really missing anyone that's going to help them too drastically on that O-line. It's honestly just they didn't sign guys because they didn't have any money to. I mean, there's, like I said earlier, they were starting 11 Canadians at one point this season. It's just a mess over there. It's a first-time head coach. He's young in Devon Claybrooks. And sometimes it kind of just looks like he's lost for what to do when his offense is just getting absolutely dominated in the trenches.
So do they have a young team then? Is that what the issue is just really young, inexperienced players?
Yeah, I would say they're pretty inexperienced. The receiving core is pretty good. But I mean, Mike Riley's catching the snap and he's getting slammed. I mean, I don't know really what he could do different. He has been caught looking a bit at the pass rush, but I mean, if you're going to get sacked 15 times in 2 games, obviously your eyes are going to drop down a little bit to see where you're getting hit from next. So it's been a tough start for the Lions. They had a lot of promise, but I picked them to be 5th in the West this year, and it looks like they're on pace for that.
All right, well, let's switch over to Edmonton then. What are they doing right, or is BC just that bad?
They sent a lot of exotic blitzes at the BC offense, so they were blitzing from everywhere, always keeping them on their heels. Really good job by the front 7 of the Edmonton Eskimos and their D coordinator. And their offense is just so good in every facet. The receiving core is good. Trevor Harris is playing like an MOP candidate, and CJ Gable's having maybe his best season as a CFLer, and that's saying a lot because he's been good for a good long time. So basically, Edmonton's just firing on all cylinders, and they look poised to be a very good team and go deep in the CFL season.
Right on. Well, let's go over to our least favorite province, and our least favorite city. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers absolutely dismantled the Toronto Argonauts. Not a surprise to anyone except for Harry, maybe, who picked them on a whim there. But we've got Winnipeg just absolutely throttling Toronto 48-21, and it was a bloodbath, Riley.
Yeah, it was a crushing, and the thing is that Toronto scored the most points that they have all season long. So that's kind of embarrassing. I mean, they scored 21 points, and that's the most that you can muster up in 4 games. McLeod Bethel-Thompson, their QB, looks better than James Franklin did, but the team just isn't very good. They have Darrell Walker, who's a playmaker. They have James Wilder Jr., who's a playmaker. S.J. Green's getting up there in age. I mean, it's tough sledding out there in Toronto.
Yeah, they are just not a very good football team, and Winnipeg just continues to absolutely roll this league, moving to 4-0, Riley, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this Bombers team. They just keep rolling. Don't make mistakes. Said it before. They don't screw up. They make you screw up, and they just keep coming at you in waves. Lucky Whitehead had another big game. He's looked really good for them. Andrew Harris was huge, and Matt Nichols just kind of just drives the ship. He steers. He doesn't have to make any crazy plays because all his playmakers are doing it for him. This Winnipeg team, you don't really see a weakness in them right now.
So is he more of a game manager than a really, really good quarterback then, Riley?
He's been blessed with very, very good weapons around him. I would call him a bit more than a game manager, but I certainly wouldn't put him in the elite level of QBs in the CFL.
Well, this is just making the Labor Day Classic going to be that much better. It's going to be hopefully a great game. I would hate to see us get dismantled, but it's going to having Winnipeg be. I don't even know if I can even remember when Winnipeg's been this good ever.
No, they're playing really, really good, and Winnipeg's had good teams before. You can remember Swaggerville when their defense was super sick. But there's just something different about this team. They're just good everywhere, and they seem pretty confident in it. And I think it's going to take a lot to knock this Winnipeg Blue Bombers team off their high horse.
All right. Well, why don't you tell me what's going on with Montreal and Ottawa?
Okay, well, Montreal's been a mess, but before it became a mess again, as it has been for the past few seasons, they played really well against Ottawa. They had control of the game pretty much the whole game and beat the Red Blacks 36-19, jump into second place in the East after 2 straight wins. William Stanbeck once again broke 100 yards, this time on 18 carries, and Vernon Adams Jr. played his best game as a CFL pro. He threw for 327, 2 TDs, ran another 2 touchdowns in. He was dialed in, and Montreal might have found their guy. I mean, it took Vernon a little while. He never really got a full shot. He was always kind of the backup coming in injury situations. But, man, Vernon Adams, he played good, and it's one of the better games I've seen Montreal play for the better part of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I definitely thought Ottawa would be coming out of that game with the win. I didn't pick them just because I love to play the upset. But what about my boy Riley? What happened with him? He hasn't been playing very well recently.
Yeah, he wasn't very good at the start of the game. It took both offenses a little while to kind of figure it out. He was 23 of 37 for 268. So I mean, not terrible numbers, but again, he didn't get any passing touchdowns. And then he actually got injured. So it will actually be Jonathan Jennings coming in this week for Ottawa. Apparently it isn't too serious. But yeah, it looks like he's going to miss this week.
Well, yeah, and I did not get to watch that game, unfortunately, not knowing that he did come away with an injury in that game. But coming up against Winnipeg with your second string quarterback is going to be bad news bears for the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Yeah, it can never be good to play Winnipeg with not your best guy. And Jonathan Jennings can't read a zone defense to save his life, so I think they are going to be in a lot of trouble against Winnipeg this upcoming week.
Right. Well, final game of last week, we have the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Calgary Stampeders. Stampeders lost, Riley. What's going on?
Yeah, they did.
Stampeders lost.
I don't know. They're kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team right now. They've suffered quite a few injuries, and a lot of them have happened on the defense, and that defense is pretty brand new because they lost so many players in the offseason. So to lose even more players, the injury's been tough for them. And, oh my goodness, dude, this special teams matchup was insane. We saw Calgary block a punt for a touchdown, and then Hamilton took back the kickoff after the block punt touchdown, 112 yards for another touchdown. And then later in the game, Speedy B, Brandon Banks, took a missed field goal back for a touchdown as well. So 3 special teams TDs in one game, and it was super fun to watch. It was the game of the week, I believe we picked last week, and it lived up to the expectations.
Yeah, 3 special teams touchdowns is just nice to see, Riley. You know, when you get into your teams scoring touchdowns, you got to win that battle because you will win that game 100%.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, Hamilton played them pretty good. There was a lot of dropped passes from the Stampeders, and you can't be doing that when you have a young QB like Nick Arbuckle in there, the backup. There was like Eric Rogers, a veteran who's very, very good, dropped a couple. Richie Sindani, guy from Regina, dropped a pretty clutch one late in the fourth quarter. So you got to help your quarterback out a little bit more, and they only lost by a touchdown. So any of those drops could have been the difference.
And do we have any word on Bo Levi Mitchell and his return? Is he slated to return off that 6th game?
I haven't heard anything. I don't think it'll be this week. They play on Thursday, so it'd kind of be a short week to come back on. I believe they play next Thursday as well, so if they have maybe that full week of recovery, that could be a time. But I've heard that he's going to come off the 6th game early, but I'm not sure when that's going to be yet.
All right, well, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, but we got two big news breakers really in the CFL, don't we, Eli?
We do, Riley. Finally, some big news.
Yeah, so Kavis Reed got fired by the Montreal Alouettes after winning 2 straight games and moving into 2nd place. And at first glance, it's like, okay, you've stuck with this guy for how long? Now you're winning, and now you're going to fire him? But there's a little bit more to the story, Eli.
And what might that be, Riley?
Well, apparently he was getting around salary cap by paying certain players who had like their own businesses. He was paying their businesses or something, and then they were handing out envelopes of money to players on the team to get them up to like their minimum pay or whatever. Like, he was going around the cap and using players to do it, and it's pretty ugly. They had to fire him. I mean, the league owns the team right now while they're trying to sell it. So Kavis is an idiot for doing that, and yeah, so he's out of there, and I don't know if he'll ever be back.
That is scandal, Riley. That is some huge scandal. You never see it in any league with the GMs being that sneaky.
Yeah, and like you got to think there's got to be like a financial fine or some sort of pick fine to the team, right? Like, I mean, you can't just be paying players under the table, I guess, is basically what was happening. There's got to be some sort of repercussions for it.
Yeah, they're definitely going to lose something. I've never seen this before. I don't really know how this is going to be handled by the league. They're going to come down on this strong, though. You have to, because that's management at the top level. So you got to make an example of them. But as soon as you're handing out envelopes of cash, you're generally not going to do very well.
No, and it's like you were cheating and you were still that terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, if literally, just like I said, if you're handing out envelopes of cash and to your football players, just not gonna end well for you.
No, but thus ends an era of one of the worst GMs in CFL history.
Well, what else do we have?
Well, the league finally got a suspension on Simoni Lawrence. He appealed the process. It took forever for them to get a hearing. And then it happened, I believe, last Thursday, and they just came out with the decision today. So they have upheld Simoni Lawrence's 2-game suspension for his hit to the head of Zach Collaros 3 plays into the season. Might I remind you that we are now about to enter week 6. So yeah, that took too long, but at least, in my opinion, they got it right and upheld the suspension.
Yeah, it's weird that it takes that long, and I mean, it's good. He probably reined in his play a little bit, wasn't going after people, but yep. Can't be targeting the head.
He's played really, really good in the games that he probably should have missed. So, I mean, somewhere else on an alternate universe, he misses those 2 games, and maybe Hamilton isn't 4-1 and in the top of the East right now.
Yep, definitely. Well,
but yeah, it was a pretty entertaining week of CFL.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a very entertaining week. Well, let's switch gears a little bit here and transition into some NFL talk, because we finally have some real news to talk about, Riley.
Yeah, we do. Where do you want to go first? I mean, Zeke news is probably the biggest news.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a bad time to rip on the Cowboys.
I love ripping on the Cowboys.
Well, let's start there.
All right. A report came out that Zeke has, in private, said that if the Cowboys and himself can't agree to an extension, he will hold out of camp this year. He has 2 seasons remaining on his contract. Doesn't look like he's going to wait those 2 seasons out because he knows how high his value is right now. Dallas has Zeke, Amari Cooper, and Dak to all sign in the near future. So I guess my question to you is, do they give Zeke a deal before the training camp, or do you see him holding out?
I don't know. This is interesting. I did not see this from Zeke, to be completely honest. I think they will. I think they are going to pay him. I mean, Jerry loves Dak, but at the same time, you're a GM of an NFL team, so you got to understand where the value add is on that offense. And it's not coming from Dak Prescott. It's coming from Ezekiel Elliott. So I think we get a little bit more detail coming out of this. Do they extend him this year? I don't think so, to be completely honest.
I mean, he's going to want Lev money, right?
Yeah, he is. And this is a continual trend coming from running backs. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be one of those things where they're gonna have their conversation behind closed doors. Jerry's gonna guarantee him millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then the deal will get worked out next year. But I don't think he's going to get extended before camp.
Yeah, I think Dak gets extended this year. I don't think that they will extend Amari Cooper, to be honest with you. I think this will be his last year as a Cowboy.
Yeah, I don't think they'll extend Amari either. Dak, he's not going to get a crazy amount of money, especially, and this is most likely what Zeke is doing, is he's just understanding that, well, quarterbacks are the ones that are getting paid, and rightfully so, but Zeke should be the one that's getting paid on that offense. So he's just putting his feelers out there. He's letting Jerry know that he is the star child.
Yeah. Yeah, Zeke is 100% number one on the priority list. If he's not happy, you got to make him happy.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't see them extending Dak either. I don't think he's that good. I think before Jerry...
I think they're going to, personally.
Yeah, but that's just Jerry. I mean... I could see him make him play in another season, dude. Why not?
Yeah.
Because...
it doesn't look like he's in any hurry. I haven't heard anything about him needing a holdout or anything, so...
No, and he's not going to hold out, but... I mean, Jerry... Again, it's probably all behind closed doors with Jerry. Jerry's probably like, if you want to... I want to give you this money, but you got to earn it this season, because we're either going to do an extension earlier and we're going to pay you less, or you come out and have a fantastic season and we're going to pay you a considerable amount more. So
yeah, I mean, the longer a QB holds out, the market only goes up for quarterbacks.
yeah.
So there's no rush to get signed, because next year, if you have a good year, you're getting way more than you were this year.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Interesting. I don't think Zeke's getting a deal this year, though.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I mean, Jerry has stood behind Zeke through thick and thin. You got to think, like, Jerry's going to talk to him like, throw a guy a bone here. I've been behind you. I've had your back the whole time that you've gone through the suspension and blah, blah, blah. Help a brother out. Let's wait till next offseason.
Yeah. On the topic of extensions, I saw this a couple weeks ago. We may have talked about it. I don't remember. But your Falcons GM has given Julio Jones his personal guarantee that they will get an extension done.
Yeah, and he'll get whatever money he wants. I think we did talk about this a couple weeks ago.
I think we talked about the extension itself and how it's coming, but it later came out from Julio in an interview that Falcons GM has given him his personal guarantee. So if that doesn't end up happening, Riley, it is going to get messy with Julio Jones in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, he has to now. You can't be telling the franchise that you guarantee him an extension and then don't give it to him. Like I said a couple weeks ago, throw the Brinks truck at him. I don't care how much money you give Julio. He deserves whatever he wants. He has been the franchise player for this team for a number of years, and he's still a top, well, in my opinion, top 1 receiver in the NFL, but for sure a top 3 receiver.
Yeah, I agree. He is a top 3 receiver for sure. This isn't actually on our sheet, but this came out, NFL related-ish. Madden released some of their rankings, Riley.
Yeah. I mean, Patty Mahomes, 97 overall. He's the number 1 QB. Aaron Donald, 99 overall. Tom Brady, 96 overall. They got
Khalil Mack, 99 overall.
Yeah.
One thing that shocked me. DeAndre Hopkins, 99 overall.
Yeah, I don't
know. That's the one. And Bobby Wagner was also pretty surprising.
Well, and Richard Sherman still rated a 93. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the NFL did a lot better job than 2K did, though. Oof, there's some pissed off people at 2K. But did you see Keenan Allen was he's boycotting Madden because of his rating this year, so he was pissed off about that. I think it was his speed or his agility or something he was just not happy with, so he's boycotting Madden.
Yeah, which is hilarious. There's always some butthurt players when the Madden rankings come out, and there's been some funny tweets.
Yeah, if you've never read the fake Ethan Albright letter to John Madden, it is maybe one of the funniest things on planet Earth. Check it out. Literally just type in Ethan Albright Madden in Google, and it's the best read probably of your life. I cry laughing every time, and it's probably been out for 15 years.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And the Seattle Seahawks punter tweeted, Madden must have forgot he's averaging 9 yards a carry, which is one of my favorite ones because he's a punter.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a good one. Tom Brady, 97 overall, not a surprise. He would be a 99, but his speed is probably just garbage.
Yeah, and he dropped that one trick play pass too, so his catching's probably not too high.
Yeah, that's true. But all in all, I'm excited. I'm excited for the new Madden. I'm playing with Mahomes will be hilarious because I've got him in the previous one, and his arm strength rating in that game is out of control.
Yeah, I'm still just hoping for a new NCAA football game, to be honest. I haven't been able to get into Madden, but I play it, but it's no NCAA.
Yeah, the NCAA has some legalities to work out before, and we're still a couple of years away from that. But I agree with you. I am hoping for that return. All right, we have some. Martavis Bryant is off the hoots, Riley, and he's looking for reinstatement again.
Yeah, the smoke has cleared for Martavis Bryant. He was suspended indefinitely in December. He violated the terms of his conditional reinstatement from a previous weed punishment. But he has apparently been making himself available for drug tests the past couple of weeks to the NFL and NFLPA. So, he's planning on coming back once again. Do you see him making a difference anywhere? He wasn't great in Oakland even when he was playing.
No, I don't. But for him to even get back into the league, in the famous words of Stephen A. Smith, he's got to stay off the weed. And I don't think it's possible for Martavis. So, he might get reinstated like next year or something like that. But yeah, I don't think so. He's been out of the game too long, and he wasn't super great to begin with.
Yeah,
he was
I don't think he's gonna do anything special.
Yeah, no, I don't either. All right, what else we got, Riley?
Well, speaking of reinstatement, Cowboys pass rusher Randy Gregory plans on applying for reinstatement as well sometime this week. He was suspended in February for violating the league's substance abuse policy. This is a different one because Randy Gregory is a damn good D lineman. And if he comes back to the Cowboys, that'll help the defense out quite a bit. Do you think he makes a difference if he comes back?
Was he a first-time offender? No, he was 2,
no,
I think.
I think he's been out a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not playing this season. He might come back next year.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's back this year. Or if they do, they reinstate him like halfway through the season or something like that.
Yeah, he'll definitely have to serve some sort of suspension, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think he has a better chance of being an impact player again than Martavis Bryant, though. That's for sure.
Yes, I think we can all agree on that.
All right. Well, we got one more kind of exciting news. I don't know if this is more of tabloid stuff than real news, but sources close to Gronk say there's a 40% chance he comes out of retirement this season. Do we see Gronk in a Pats uniform this year?
Patriots brick Gronk's body. He's not coming back, Riley. That man is broken. He'll get to week 13 and he will remember this is why I retired. And I mean, of course he's going to say that. He wants to win a Super Bowl. It's Tom Brady.
Yeah, what if he doesn't come back to week 10, just heals the body for a few weeks?
Yeah, that would be out of control. But yeah. If he came back
the Patriots, the Patriots are 6-4 in week 10, week 11. They're battling for that division title because every other team in their division's terrible. Tom Brady gives Gronk a little call, says, "Hey, need you for about 8 weeks here."
Yeah, I don't know. That would be, if he does that, that would be wild. And if that did happen, that's when the league would step in and have probably some rules about retirement. I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rule against it. Yeah,
no, there isn't, not yet. So I think if he does, and Patriots make another Super Bowl run with healthy Gronk, that would be crazy. But I think this is fake news, Riley. I think he's done. His body's broken, and I think he knows that, and he wants to enjoy the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the Patriots aren't even he gets a couple plays. He's mainly just blocking. He's not lighting up defenses for 150 yards and 2 scores anymore.
We've certainly seen a shell of Gronk the past couple of years.
Yeah, he's been getting maybe 80 yards on a good day and a touchdown, and then he's just blocking absolute monsters from the D line. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, for his sake, I hope he doesn't come back. I mean, he's had a good enough career. He's made enough money. He's won enough Super Bowls. Just go party. Just go party, Gronk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I have one more thing that is also not on our script today that I just saw.
Nice. Breaking news.
So we talked last week about Jadeveon Clowney getting franchise tagged. Well, the team's trying to list him as a D lineman / linebacker. And the linebacker franchise tag is cheaper than the D lineman one. So now there's a whole nother thing going on there in Houston as to what he actually is. Which payment are they going to franchise tag him on? This has to all this mess getting franchise tag and then going through how much we're going to pay you on the franchise tag, he's not coming back next year. He's going somewhere else.
Yeah, no. Like I said, he's gone.
Yeah, that's real NFL news, Eli. We just crushed out some real NFL news without scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the middle of July.
Yeah, it makes me feel like the season's just around the corner. Our draft just 48 days away, Eli.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Let's wrap everything up here, Riley, and get into this week's CFL picks.
Yeah, I redeemed myself last week. I had gone 1-3 and 2-2 last week. This week I went 3-1 straight up and 3-1 against the spread. That takes me to 13-6 straight up and 12-7 against the spread this season. And for the second time in 5 weeks, Calgary losing broke my perfect week. They just hate me. The Stamps are not my friend. I'm 0-4 picking Stamps games this year, so it hurts me, but we'll survive, I guess. 3-1 still a good record. Made some decent money on Bodog. So, Eli, you actually went 3-1 last week too on your off the cusp picks.
Yeah, when I tossed my hoop in the ring, I can pick some games, pick some spicy ones. Riley, it worked out for me.
Yeah, maybe you'd get more into teams besides the Riders if you just started gambling on every game.
Yeah, I mean that is an instant boost to the amount you care about something if you start gambling on it.
How much did I care about that Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer game until I was betting on them in the 5th and final set? Then I all of a sudden became a tennis expert a couple days ago in that unreal Wimbledon match. So gambling makes everything more fun.
Yeah, we're all degenerate gamblers at heart. It just takes a 5-hour tennis match to bring it out sometimes.
Exactly. Anyway, let's get to my picks, and then we'll hear yours again, see what you can do this week.
All right.
I've got Toronto at Calgary on Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern time. That's the kicks off week 6. Argos, not good. Calgary will look to avenge a loss to the Ticats last week. I see them coming out pretty hot. I think they win at home, and I'll hesitantly take them at minus 11.5, so they'll have to win by 12 points for me to get the spread win there. 11.5 is a big spread, but Toronto is big time bad, so I think that should be okay. Friday at 8:30 Eastern, Ottawa is in Winnipeg. The Red Blacks stumbled the past couple weeks, and now Dominic Davis is injured. Jonathan Jennings will start, and like I said earlier, that's bad news for Ottawa because Jonathan Jennings can't read his own defense to save his life, and he's taking on one of the best defenses in the league. I'll take Winnipeg and Winnipeg at minus 10 as well. Saturday, we got a doubleheader. Always love the Saturday doubleheaders. Edmonton against the suddenly hot Montreal Alouettes. The Esks rolling, but so are the Als. Edmonton's offense, really, really good. Maybe my favorite offense in the league right now. Vernon Adams just had his best game in the CFL. I'm throwing the game of the week at this one, Eli. I'm thinking Edmonton at Montreal will be the game of the week. But I think Montreal stumbles a little bit. They've been, I think, playing a little bit over their heads the past couple weeks. And Edmonton comes in, beats Montreal, and beats them by the minus 5 spread that Bodog has presented me. And last but not least, BC at our Saskatchewan Roughriders, Eli, Saturday at 7 Eastern. The Lions' O-line is horrendous. But the problem is they don't have any players on the roster to help the O-line. They've been humiliated a bunch. They only beat Toronto by a rouge, which we talked about a lot last week. I think the Riders come off a bye. Cody Fajardo has another week as the number 1 guy in practice, and he's only going to get better. With a good game plan on defense to disrupt Mike Riley like the Eskimos have twice this year, I think the Riders beat them all night long, and I will easily take the Riders at minus 3.5.
Yeah, you got to hammer the over on that.
Yeah, I think the Riders win by 2 scores, honestly.
Yeah, Riders are handedly winning that game. It's not very interesting, Riley, but I'm smelling a perfect week from you, and I'm jumping on all of those. There's nothing I would agree about. The only thing I would change is if Dominic Davis was playing for Ottawa, I'd go for the upset in Winnipeg to move him to 4-1, but he's out, so I'm not even going to bother touching that with a 200-foot pole. So, yeah, I'm just going to roll with you, dude. I'm going to take...
I think the picks are good. It's just whether they come out on top with the spreads that might screw me up this week, because those are some pretty big numbers.
Yeah, they are some pretty big numbers, but I mean, I think they're pretty easy matches, and that is why.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Riley, huge news, surprise. We are doing a giveaway for rider tickets. So those of you listening in Saskatchewan, you will have the chance to win some free rider tickets. So, I mean, there you go.
Yeah, giving away a pair of tickets to the Rider game against the Lions at 5 o'clock Saskatchewan time on Saturday. They're in section 141, 14 rows from the field. They're pretty prime tickets. I've sat in them before for Labor Day last year. They were sick tickets. To enter, you go on our Twitter or our Facebook. You got to follow us, retweet / share the post that we've put up there, and like the contest post. One lucky winner will be picked at 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursday.
Boom. Huge giveaway.
It's going to be fun.
Yep. We'll announce that on our social medias.
Yeah, and also we're supposed to give a shout out to Harry for picking the Alouettes in an upset last week.
Yes, Harry did come out with an upset pick, which is surprising.
But he also took Toronto over Winnipeg, so that balances it out.
Yeah, it definitely does. All right. Well, Riley, as always, follow us on the social medias at Squib Kick Radio, especially now because we're giving you free rider tickets. Like, figure it out. Why wouldn't you follow us? And with that, look for that announcement on Thursday for the winner of those tickets. And then we will talk to you guys next week.
Enjoy your recovery weekend, Eli.
I will. I'm looking forward to it. Golfing the 18th best golf course in Canada on Saturday. So that will be a good time. I'm probably not going to shoot very well, but yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, man. Have a good one, buddy.
All right. I got you stuck off the realness.